Okay, so today I want to do a video on controlling excess worry and how we can take control of our worries when it's building up in our head and it keeps repeating ourselves and causing us anxiety. Now, I do understand that some people are a little more prone to worry and they consider themselves more worriers, and that's kind of how I am myself. But there is a couple of different techniques that can be used to change up your worry patterns and help you. So for one, let's start with when you're worrying, it's best to decide that you're going to create a worry time and a particular time where you can actually worry instead of just worrying, openly whenever you want, whenever the thought comes into your brain and thinking about all the what ifs and the worst case scenarios. So create a worry time. That's something that might work for you. Otherwise, just use a certain time period, either in the day where you start worrying or another day, and decide that you're going to get the worrying out of the way right then and there, and you're not going to go back to worrying. And if you can do either of those things, of course, that would help very much with worrying. So some people prefer that they can go through their worries by writing down their thoughts and writing down their worries, and that does work for some people. If that's a good method for you, it's definitely something you could try. You write down your worries, get them out of your head. It's a good way to vent and to look at them, and you can look at them in a more realistic fashion, because maybe when you write it down you realize that it's not that big a deal, or that your fears are a little bit illogical. And so that technique may also work for you. You can also disrupt a worry or a worry pattern when it starts. So when you start to worry about something, yell stop or distract yourself or focus on something else instead of continuing to worry about that particular worry. Whether it's small or big, it should work either way. If you distract yourself or change your focus, just make sure that you tell yourself to stop when you begin worrying, so that you don't get caught up in the whole worrying stream, because you want to worry to reevaluate the situation or to fix things, and often we're worrying and we're only adding more stress and more anxiety, and we're not coming up with any solutions, and sometimes a worry becomes a couple more worries or something like that. So then the worry in the beginning does not even do anything for us, and worrying doesn't help the situation at all. And sometimes it seems to be out of your control, and that's why we need to regain our control, especially for worries that are built on, things that haven't happened and what ifs and aren't backed up by facts. Then it's a little illogical to worry about things that have yet happened or may not ever happen. So we get too worked up in worrying about these things without doing anything productive to help manage the situation. So we just worry, and then it just builds up in our minds like a storm, and it doesn't stop. Now, most worries don't ever happen. They don't ever come to be. So we worry about one particular thing, and yet 85-90% of the things that we worry about and the what ifs that we worry about, what if this bad thing happens, 85 to 90% of those things never even happen. So we constantly torture ourselves and worry and bother ourselves about these what ifs and worst case scenarios, when that's the worst case scenario ends up being that we are punishing ourselves and we're suffering and we're stressing and we're having anxiety over it. So make sure that you remind yourself that 85 to 90% of the worries don't happen. Now, arguing your worries away, that's probably one of the best things that you can do. So be prepared to come up with arguments to your worries. If you're thinking about your worries, tell yourself that's irrational, that's not likely, things don't usually happen in that way, and just tell yourself that, you're being illogical, there's not much of a basis to believe in this or to think that this will happen. And either way, you have to find out what's going to happen, so worrying doesn't cause any, any of your problems to go away. So you have to control that. After you're arguing your worries away, make sure you think more of the current moment and focus on the positives in the current moment and the things that are happening right now. Focus more on the moment and instead of the future that you're worried about, and then therefore you can make your current moment better instead of being stuck in the what ifs of the future, of course. And distract yourself, and you can distract yourself with positive things and distract yourself with anything, really. I mean, reading can distract. Either way, just take yourself away from that topic and take yourself away from that subject or away from that problem, at least for a good period of time, if all you're doing is worrying about it and your worries aren't productive. So these are some good ways that you can control the excess worry, and then understand that, it's not helpful to continue to worry yourself to death or be fearful of the future that you're not aware of. So try to stay in the current moment, try to stay positive, and don't let the worries eat at you.